Now, for more on that story, we are joined by the South African National Defence Union Chief Negotiator, Jeff Dubazana. Dubazana, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this evening. Now, we saw there in the clip the SANDF Chief Maphanywa saying that returning of the soldiers is not necessarily a sign of weakness. What's the union's reaction to this return?
Katleho, thanks, and thanks to your viewers. Look, as Sandu, we are grateful for the return. In fact, let me say we are cautiously grateful that on the 13th, tomorrow, our soldiers, the first batch of our soldiers will be returning back to our country. We are cautiously grateful that it is going to be happening. We would only be grateful once every single one of them is accounted for and back in the country. As far as what the chief is said, you know, a lot of things have been said about what's happening what happened and what is happening in the DRC. As Sandu, we are saying, you know, for the nation to know exactly what happened and what is happening in the DRC, politicians and the military leadership, it needs to listen to the voices of those who are deployed there in the DRC and not just listen, sincerely listen to them. And that could only happen. And that is what Sandu is calling upon, you know, our commander-in-chief, the president, to establish a commission of inquiry to find out exactly what happened in the DRC. As of now, no one, the nation does not know as to exactly what happened in the DRC. Only those who are deployed there knows what happened there. Myself, I was not there. The chief was not there.
Certainly. I mean, you speak about being cautiously grateful for their return. What reservations do you have in terms of ensuring that all the soldiers would be returned safely back on home soil?
As I've said, Katleho, this is the first group that is coming. It's a group of about 250. And according to the plan that we have seen, another 2 groups will be landing on Saturday or on Sunday, the 15th. And so it goes. They'll be coming in groups of 250. Now, as I've said, would only be grateful once every single one of them is accounted for back in the country, since we are dealing with rebels here.
Most certainly. And of course, you highlight us knowing exactly what happened back in the DRC. Do you think there's a disconnect in terms of what possibly politicians are being told and what they're conveying as a message to the country with regards to the events that happened in the DRC as opposed to exactly what really happened in accordance to those that were there?
Katleho, it can't be easy for me to say I know what happened in the DRC, let alone anyone, especially anyone who was not in the DRC, to be telling the nation what happened in the DRC. Only those who are deployed there knows what happened in the DRC, and it is only them who can tell us what happened in the DRC, which is why we are urging our president to instill, you know, a commission of inquiry for them to tell us what happened in the DRC.
We know that a number of forces and factors that were possibly beyond the South African government and events, like you're saying, we are not sure of exactly what it is that took place and that played out in the DRC. But how do you think government should ensure future peacekeeping missions are better prepared, especially for the soldiers that we deploy? And do you think that they were prepared enough for this mission?
You see, the harrowing conditions that our soldiers faced, and I should add, they faced them being disciplined and dignified in the DRC. it was, among other things, as a result of lack of logistical support that they had to endure throughout, their deployment in the DRC. That is something that our government, our political leadership, has to look into very seriously. In fact, that is something that the Commission, we believe, ultimately will come out with solutions around.
And any lessons that you believe we possibly could take from this? I mean, you do speak of the lack of logistical support that possibly was experienced by those that were deployed. But overarchingly, do you think there are other lessons that the government possibly could take from this mission for missions going forward?
As Sandu, we believe that there are a lot of lessons that we need to learn from this deployment. Obviously, this is not the first deployment. In Lesotho, we lost 8 of our soldiers. In the car, in Bangui, we lost 15, not just soldiers, but elite soldiers. Now it's the DRC, 14 of our soldiers. Surely we can't have this situation continuing. We understand that, in a whole situation, that there's a possibility of casualties. But we strongly believe that these casualties could be minimized, which is why we are calling for this commission. We can't have, the SANDF in the position that it is at this current moment. Surely we can't have that. We need to make sure that we take the SANDF to its former position of glory.
And that former position of glory, what do you think it's going to take as a collective, not only from government in terms of officials, but from the SANDF itself, from the members of the SANDF? What culture shift do you think needs to happen to take the SANDF back to those days of glory?
First, we need, decisive political leadership that would make sure that finances that are necessary to return the defense force to its former position are made available. Secondly, we need, a decisive military leadership to be established within the defense force. That we believe could take the SANDF to its former glory.
All right. Chief Negotiator of the SANDF Union, thank you so much for your time. That was Jeff Dubazana speaking to us there on the eve of the first cohort of the SANDF soldiers that were deployed in the DRC returning to home soil this coming Friday.